Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 142. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm your host, Chris, as always, here in my studio, surrounded by posters, listening to music, doing album reviews, and having you join me for them too. That's what this whole thing is about. So yeah, again, thank you very much for deciding to do that today. Glad that you're here. And just a reminder before we go any further that if you like what you see and or hear today, there's one thing, a bunch of things, or all the things I'm about to list that you can do to help show your support for the show right now. And it is the following: like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, and follow. 6 quick, free, and easy things. Again, you can literally do it right now. You can do it a little later. It doesn't really matter. But regardless, your support means the world to me. So thank you very much if you choose to do that. And you can find all the places to do those things over at ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. The streaming links, social media links, the RTR album chart, so every podcast episode where the scores end up, you can find it all there chronologically. And of course, if you want to financially support the show, there is the RTR Club. It's completely optional, but the option's indeed yours. The content is forever free, but if you want to help make the show bigger and better, that's the best way to do it. And that can be found over at ratetherecord.ca. Alrighty, just storming through the beginning stuff, because we have to get to what truly matters today, episode 142, an album I've wanted to cover for so long on this show, at least the year that it's been out, and I think I've wanted to put Spiritbox in the show regardless over the last little while, but eventually I got around to doing it now. So for episode 142, we are indeed looking at Spiritbox and their album Tsunami Sea. Again, very excited to get into this one. I loved the teasers going into this one. I remember covering Soft Spine on the NMR. I think I did No Lost, No Love as well, and they're both fantastic tracks. So we are finally covering the album today. Very exciting stuff. So just before we actually start reviewing the album, let me tell you a little bit more about it. Tsunami Sea is the second full-length studio album by metal band Spiritbox. It was released March 7th, 2025 through Rise Records. For this album, the band consists of Zev Rosenberg on drums, Josh Gilbert on backing vocals, but is also known to play bass guitar live at shows, Courtney LaPlante on vocals, and Mike Stringer on bass and guitars. Stringer also worked as a producer alongside Dan Bronstein, co-founder of the band Volumes. The album is generally held in high regard across reviews, as it sits with an 85 on Metacritic. NME gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, Kerrang gave it 5 out of 5, Metal Hammer gave it a 4.5 out of 5, among other reviews. The album appeared on 22 charts, peaking with 8 top 10 placements, most notably number 1 in the UK on the independent album charts, number 3 on the UK rock and metal album chart, as well as the US top rock and alternative charts, among many more. The album spawned 3 singles: Soft Spine, Perfect Soul, and No Lost, No Love. And there you go, just a little bit more about the album just in case you didn't know already. And for the video viewers of this particular podcast, look next to me. It's not Spotify anymore. I actually took the step and got rid of Spotify. I'm not being paid for this, but I'm using Qobuz now. There's just a lot I liked about it, and I found pretty much every song and album that I liked on Spotify on Qobuz, so I switched over. Don't support Spotify, yay! But again, I'm not being paid to talk about Qobuz. I'm just saying it looks different now. It looks nice, doesn't it? Anyways, doesn't really change the fact that I can or can't review albums because it's all here. So is Tsunami Sea. So let's get started with song number 1, Fata Morgana. Crushing sound just fades away, so I'll pause it right there for song number 1, Fata Morgana. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, I'm not entirely certain. I digress though. This song though, it's a hell of a crushing and thunderous start to the album, very heavy on the compression too. But with that said, it's kind of like par for the course when it comes to most modern metal albums. So as much as I can comment on that, it's just whatever. It happens pretty much every metal album now, so whatever. It's just a thing. It sounds fine, though. It sounds very explosive, as it should, in the headphones, so that works very well. Courtney, too. I mean, Courtney is so goddamn consistent with her clean and screaming vocals, and this song is, I think, a good display of both of those different styles. We get even better examples of it through the album as we move along, but this one is a really good showcase of what it's like in the very first song. So incredibly versatile. I really like that. And honestly, I think it's a pretty decent mood setter for the album. Granted, there are like quite a few different mood shifts as we go along, and different style changes as we move along too. But this one I think works really, really well to get your attention. It's low, slow, it's pretty brutal all around. So yeah, fantastic start to the album. Loving it so far. So let's see how much further we can go with how good it is with song number 2, Black Rainbow. Like right to the dead last second there. Like that one just went right on to the last second. Song number 2, Black Rainbow. With this one, there's like a lot of really cool rhythms going on all over this track. A lot of twists and turns that kind of really keep it interesting and keep it fun to follow along with too. So there was never a point in this song where I felt bored at all. So I think that's pretty entertaining. That's good. Points for that. I like the vocal processing in this one too. Like during the verses, you get this weird robotic type of tone, and it's just kind of like another layer to add on to an already interesting song. I thought it was a pretty smart choice, so that way it's like still technically clean vocals, but it's done in such a different style that fits everything that's happening, so good choice for composition all around. But I made a comment that this song ends rather abruptly, but does it feel like it cuts off too abruptly? Like, I mean, it's fine that it does. I'm not the biggest lover of songs that cut off like so soon. Some of them are fine, but this one, it feels like Courtney didn't even like finalize the word rainbow that she was saying at the very last second there. Like it sounds like it was cut off before she even finished it. So I don't know, they could have like let it bleed for an extra second and just like rainbow, cut like half a second of fade, and then that's it. Like I don't know, maybe that's just me, maybe it's me being nitpicky, but that's what I'm nitpicking out of this song because I enjoyed it so much. So there you go, I guess. Anyways, we can now move on to song number 3, Perfect Soul. All right, song number 3, Perfect Soul. Probably a great note to start on as the song was ending with it was the clean vocals throughout this entire thing. Great clean vocals across the entire track. I'm sorry, I didn't get much sleep last night. I'm very tired. Anyways, making excuses. Great clean vocals across this entire song. I think it's fantastic. Again, just another one of those things that really shows off like how good Courtney is at doing this. And her voice on top of those like really low and crushed guitars too actually works really well and sounds really nice. So I like the juxtaposition of it. I'm not always a big fan of that kind of style, but I mean, like sometimes when it's pulled off well, it is, and I think it is here for sure. I feel like, I mean, going forward, you'll hear more digestible tracks, but when it comes to the heavier of the metal tracks, I think this one is one of the more digestible tracks so far for sure. I mean, there's plenty of people out there who like metal music without the screaming, so I think that a song like this would probably scratch that itch pretty well. So if that sounds like it's up your alley, then this is probably going to be more for you. In some little atmospheric layers too, kind of coating the background is a really nice touch to help fill everything out. Even soften up the sound a little bit too, despite the heavier and intense guitars. So I don't know, there's like a lot of texturing and layering this song that I'm really appreciating, and kind of gives you a little bit of everything as you go along through it. So with that said, it's a decent track. I do like it. Not as much as some of the other ones, but we will get to that part later when I actually rank the songs, but it's still not a bad track. It's good. It's good. We can move on now to song number 4 called Keep Sweet. Song number 4, Keep Sweet. Immediately I'm kind of thrown back to the last song, because remember how I made that note about like Perfect Soul being one of the more digestible tracks? Well, this one's definitely in contention too, because it has that like really weird mix of like metal, but then you have this like poppier electronic drum and bass style passages and everything like that. it just blends through and just kind of keeps everything more interesting and fun as it goes along. It, once again, gives you a little bit of everything. So you're getting a lot out of this one, which is pretty neat, I should say. Like, I don't know if I was entirely expecting it, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily complaining about it. And there's a lot of atmosphere and texture all over the track too. And that's honestly sounds pretty pleasant, all things considered, with certain sounds throughout this song, because there are, again, like the prettier ones, and then there's like the more harsh, intense ones, especially coming from like the guitars and drums and everything like that. And Courtney does have her screaming moments. And especially considering the lyrics too, that are like just pleasant to hear, even though they're not the most pleasant of lyrics, because it dives into what Courtney had kind of seen and experienced as a woman growing up in a very conservative state before moving to Canada as a teenager. And essentially, it just kind of looks at how women are told to be through the eyes of religion and things alike. So, yeah, if you really listen through it, as pleasant as the vocals can be, like, there's definitely much more of a deeper message there. Kind of unfortunate, but that's, hey, it's nice that she's at least singing about it and getting out. I like it, though. The lyrics are good. The song's good. Everything sounds good about it. Decent stuff. I like where this album's going so far. Like, I didn't mind their first album at all, Eternal Blue, which maybe one day I'll cover on the show. But yeah, this one so far is like really taking some turns that I've really been enjoying, more or less. So let's see where we go with one of the singles of the album for sure, song number 5, and that is Soft Spine. Jesus. Song number 5, Soft Spine. Super heavy, intense, catchy as all hell too. I mean, like, I know some people are like, oh, metal can't be catchy. That's a bullshit statement, by the way. I don't believe that at all. This is insanely catchy. And honestly, there's so much to enjoy about this one too. And given its very short runtime, it's what, just a smidgen over 3 minutes long? So you get a lot in that very short amount of time. And like, you have like the lyrics that are like super fiery as all hell, just as compared to the instrumental passages. So you're kind of getting like the intensity from both sides. And the lyrics, I mean, obviously being about calling out the bullshit of specific people that she doesn't like, or that she knows at the very least. That's further proven from, like, not only when I saw Spiritbox live, but apparently at every live show before they play this song, she literally screams out, "This song goes out to everyone I fucking hate." So, cool. Badass. I like it. I remember, I think I had just heard Soft Spine for the first time, like it was released as a single. That's when I saw Spiritbox, so I wasn't too familiar with the song yet. So that was just cool to hear and experience live and everything like that. Good shit, good shit. Granted, the song is generally kind of formulaic with its composition and everything like that, but I will say that doesn't make it any less fun to get through. I mean, I had fun all the way through, just... Yeah, I mean, most of the songs on this album are structured pretty similarly, and I mean, I guess that's fine, but sometimes you want something to kind of catch you off guard a little bit, but whatever, it's fine. Song's still fun. I'm just being kind of picky and bitchy about it. It's fine, don't worry about it. But yeah, it's a fun track. It's a great lead single that I think really captures a good chunk of the mood of this album. Again, I know different styles and everything like that are coming, and if I'm looking, we got some of those songs coming up for sure. But yeah, I think this captures a good chunk of that mood, so... Really enjoyable stuff. I really like Soft Spine. I liked it when I first heard it. It's grown on me even more, and here we are now. With that said, we will move on to song number 6, the title track itself, Tsunami Sea. And as the tides come and go, I'll pause it right there and say song number 6, title track, Tsunami Sea. Considering that Spiritbox is all in all a metal band, I think this is a popular title track than I think I would have anticipated coming into this album. There's still those typical loud and crunchy guitar parts that you get throughout and everything like that, but a lot of the song revolves more around like the airy layers, Courtney's passionate vocals, and like the equally emotional lyrics as well. which have a lot to do with, having people or someone strip away layers of you so that way it fits their idea of you rather than who you actually are, that kind of thing. Obviously, very depressing because like a lot of the album kind of fits around those themes, and also apparently just revolves around the themes of Vancouver Island as well, which is where the band originated. So yeah, I don't know, just imposter syndrome, isolation, depression, just that kind of stuff, that kind of really fun stuff. But again, it works really well here. I do like it. And speaking on that note too of like, the passionate vocals, emotional lyrics and everything like that, I'm really digging the clean guitar layers that we get in the verses as well. They're nice, like they're almost like these twinkling little textures that you have to make the track feel essentially kind of colder. So you're on these frigid waters of the ocean and everything like that. So it's a very good atmospheric kind of cinematic thing in your head. It works really well to enhance the storytelling. So yeah, good stuff all around, good title track. Again, not what I thought it was going to be, but not disappointed either. That's good. Anyways, we'll move on to song number 7 now. A Haven with Two Faces. Cool stuff. Song number 7, A Haven with Two Faces. It almost feels like a continuation of the previous song. Maybe not so much lyrically, because lyrically it was more personal. This one, I think, is more based around the idea of Vancouver Island itself, as far as I'm concerned. I was trying to figure it out, and then I was like reading other people's interpolations and stuff like that, and so I guess that's kind of what it's getting at. But regardless, like just thematically with the water and everything like that, and just the feeling overall, it definitely feels like a continuation for sure. It just another one too that effortlessly blends beauty and intensity and everything like that. I think it does it wonderfully here. And some of my favorite things about the song come from the chorus, which is like one of the first things you hear too. Courtney's vocal passages and just the melody of it and everything like that, just the way it sits on everything, just it's really pretty. It's really beautiful stuff. Really kind of somber too, but I think it just works so well, really well thought out and like composed and everything like that. It's a very proggy feeling to this track too. Now I know that we can get that on other tracks as well, but with this one I felt it a lot more, and I think it made it pretty interesting to actually like follow along with and get through. So definitely kept my attention for the vast majority of the time for sure. And there's like a lot of cool little layers sprinkled all throughout this one too. You notice it more with like on additional playbacks. So it's neat to be able to like pull more and more from it as you kind of like go through additional playbacks, which again, as I've stated in the past with these albums, I usually do at least bare minimum 3 listens to like really kind of get into the tracks and just make sure I'm not missing anything. So I was noticing more on my own playbacks. So that's why it works so well for me at the very least. And granted, you could do it with any other track on this album too. I mean, there's a lot to sit down and break down. And if you're listening quietly for the layers in the background, you will start to point them out. And some of those layers actually might make you like the song even more. And I think that's what was happening in the song for me too. I liked the main things you could hear, but some of the smaller layers did a lot too. So I like that. It stood out for me. It's just good stuff all around is what I'm trying to say. Trying not to ramble, but I think today I'm doing a bad job of that. But at least I'm saying nice things. With that, can I say nice things about song number 8, the other single called No Loss, No Love? Let's find out. Jeez, another one, huh? Song number 8, No Loss, No Love. And by another one, I mean another punishing track. Like, holy shit. These singles are like absolutely brutal. Aside from Perfect Soul, which was like, again, far more digestible. I think this one's going to be less digestible in the end. But I thought it was fantastic. Think it sounds great. It has like a bit more of a twist, even with how punishing it is, because you get these like little spoken word passages that are like kind of pre-choruses, I guess. They're a little ominous too, and like they have these like quiet, like a little electronic kind of passages kind of going behind it. Just very unnerving, unsettling, but I like it. That I mean, that's very good for kind of like world building a little bit. And it feels like it's something I shouldn't like, because it's so brutal and heavy and it's so loud. and then it just kind of crashes into that and then comes immediately back out of it. So it's just kind of like so like abrupt and sudden, but at the same time, it really works with how it's composed. So I'm really, really cool about that. And it packs a hell of a punch too, this entire song. I mean, what is it? 2 minutes and 56 seconds, the shortest song on the album. So it packs a hell of a lot in that time frame. It does everything it needs to and more, like perfectly all within less than 3 minutes. So like a lot of respect to that, because sometimes some people need to stretch shit out, but this one I think found its home perfectly where it is. So that's really cool. And I had mentioned that a lot of this album apparently revolves around Courtney and Mike, because I don't think I mentioned the bio, but they are married. I think it's Courtney and Mike. She's married to one of the guitarists for sure. Their time living in Vancouver, a lot of the album revolves around that. This song specifically does that too. And with the spoken word passages, you can kind of get that out of it. It's very cryptic, but at the same time, if you just kind of put that imagery in your head of like, oh, this is them arriving on the island and like living there, it's like, okay, it makes a lot more sense. And that comes up a few more times for sure, I think, coming up through. So just make sure that you're kind of keeping an eye out for that. But yeah, like it's kind of looking at this like picturesque place that when a lot of people like research BC and like Vancouver, like I've done so myself because I want to go out west. I've never been out there before. I've looked at like places in Alberta and BC, and it looks picturesque when you're looking at it. Like the mountains, the ocean, everything is beautiful. But then if you actually hear the stories of people living out there, it's expensive, the homeless problems getting out of control, drug problems fucking awful out there, all that kind of stuff. Every city has that, so they're just kind of telling their own experience. I live in Hamilton, Ontario, and I mean, like, we're not exactly the cleanest city either, I get it. But it's interesting to hear that about a picturesque place like Vancouver Island, where you picture going out there and everything's so pretty and perfect. But no, it's not, and so they're just kind of letting you know that right off the top. Let's hear how much more they can tell us about Vancouver Island. I can't remember if the next song is about it or not, but regardless, it is song number 9. It's called Crystal Roses. Well, that was certainly a choice. Song number 9, Crystal Roses. I say it was a hell of a choice because, I mean, that was even more poppier than some of the previous tracks have been, which is a little kind of like taking me back a little bit. I mean, I'm taken aback, I should say. Much stronger EDM presence in this one, for sure. It's heavy on the drum and bass passages too, and the vocal processing. Like, it's that typical vocal processing you would hear on like typical EDM style tracks. It's all here, and it's like down to a T type thing. I read that they wanted to experiment with this type of track, and they really wanted to try something out like this. Not that I imagine they'll continue to make this like a permanent thing in their fixtures in the future, but at the same time, I mean, I guess it's fine that they just wanted to like play around and experiment a little bit. And it's not just all EDM too. I mean, like you eventually get like that, you get that mixed with those very familiar like heavy guitars that eventually come back in. And when the guitars come back in, they keep like the intense dance beat as well. So it kind of turns into like an electronicore type of track, which, I mean, I guess it's not unexpected given some of the things we've been given in this album so far. But I would say it's still a surprising choice given how far we are in the album right now to completely make a song like this. I feel like this would have probably sit better somewhere in the middle of the list rather than towards the end. So that way you get your heavier tracks, you get a few more experimental tracks, you get this, and then you go back and just kind of like, you know, sandwich everything else that you've already been doing type thing. So I think it would have worked better, but maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's not a bad track by any means, but to be honest, I wasn't really feeling this one overall. Like the overall flow of the album just kind of feels different with this one here. So I don't know how much I feel about it, especially considering this is supposed to be a concept album. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I need more listens with it. Maybe I need to like really kind of involve myself in the story with it. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. It feels like it interrupts the flow of the album and just doesn't feel as good. Even with similar vibes of certain tracks that kind of use these like kind of like airier, dancey, and like electronic type elements and everything like that, this one just swung for the fences. So I don't know. It's not sitting the same with me. Again, not an awful track, but just definitely not a favorite for sure. All right, we're almost done. Penultimate track. Scroll back up a little bit there. There we go. Song number 10, Ride the Wave. Ominous fading into the last track, but we'll hold on right there before we do that. Song number 10, Ride the Wave. This one's a darker, but still kind of dancier track for sure. I mean, you still very much could. The beat's like right on it for it. The electronic drums on top of those like dread-induced guitars, I think are actually a really fun match. And I was reading too that apparently Mike was writing the guitar parts being inspired by the movie 28 Days Later and that soundtrack, which, you know, that the theme to that one is like very infamous now. A lot of people know that. And then Godspeed You Black Emperor is on that soundtrack too, which is a fantastic track. I heard them live. I heard that song live not too long ago from me recording this, about a month ago. And it was a great song to hear live. And my God, the ending dragged on for like fucking 10 minutes of crushing noise. And honestly, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Anyways, I digress. He was inspired by that. I like it too. But you can hear where that 28 Days Later kind of influences there a little bit in those guitars. I really like the guitar passage, actually. It's a lot of fun. I like that kind of thing. And then you have Courtney's clean voice, once again, works really well on a track like this, especially just like when everything's soft in the verses, but even when it picks up into the choruses, like, because the choruses bring back those like really heavy guitars. So you get that good mix of like high intensity and the pushing and pulling lows, I should say. But yeah, Courtney's voice even sits well, like clean on top of those really punishing guitar passages in the chorus. And a lot of the lows too don't just like come from just the dread-induced feelings of the verses. It also comes from Courtney's lyrics that once again revolve around themes of like depression and not really feeling deserving or valid. Something in that neighborhood, which again, prominent theme to the whole album, so just kind of a continuation of it. And then we get to that bridge, which is like super crushing. It's a nice peak for the song to be able to hit. And this song is nearly 5 minutes, so it's nice to have something like that in there somewhere. Gets these intense screams, super low and punishing guitars, and it really just gives the song a little bit of everything at that point. You're getting like the calmer, more electronic stuff, the dread-inducing stuff, the heavier choruses, you get screaming vocals, quiet vocals, and then yeah, just absolutely crushing, pounding, bridged breakdown to like have everything move forward. So I really like that. Really good stuff. Glad I heard that one. But now we're getting to the end of the album with song number 11, Deep End. Yeah, there's a fade out, so I guess I'll stop it there. And again, water, like the theme of water, just kind of like closing off everything in the album too, makes a lot of sense. Obviously, song number 11, Deep End. And of course, the song has to be named after something about water as well. It's a mostly pleasant and catchy track for sure. There's a lot I enjoy about it. Lots of pretty moments in it, and some heavier and harder moments too. So once again, you're kind of getting a little bit of everything. Granted, a chunk of the album feels more formulaic in its writing, but this one just feels a little more like generic in its composition as compared to the others. It actually feels a lot like some of their older stuff as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was expecting a little more from the ending, but what can I say? There were still like a lot of pretty things I liked, especially when it came to the choruses, certain like chord progressions, and then Courtney's vocal melodies on top of it sounded like super beautiful, fantastic stuff. And I didn't write it in my notes. I probably should have, but as far as I'm concerned, this was the last song they worked on with, I believe, their former bass player before he passed away. So I guess you still had that kind of chemistry and that like songwriting mentality in the band when he was still around. And so that's why maybe it sounds like some of the older stuff that they did. But regardless, like I'm not calling it a bad track. It's just like not the ending I was expecting, but I'm glad that there were certain moments that I really enjoyed about it. But yeah, it's a pretty ominous ending to the album for sure, I would at least say. But again, probably not what I was expecting. To be honest, I don't know what I was expecting, so even when I say that, I'm not sure. But this just sounds like a song that would have come closer to the beginning, probably, in the first few tracks, I think. Or maybe one of the first, like the last few tracks of the album for sure, I think would have fit. I don't know what would go in last, but whatever, I'll take this one. It's fine. It's a decent track. It's not my favorite, but it's still pretty damn decent. I will say that myself. Alrighty, I'm rambling, and that's fine because I can stop the announcements. We are now at the end of Spiritbox and their album, Tsunami Sea. I can just stand back for a minute and say, you know what? I was pleasantly surprised by this album. I'm not super familiar with Spiritbox. Like, I've heard the first album, but I only listened to it like once, and that was like a while ago. I've seen them live. My partner, she loves Spiritbox, and so like we went to go see Korn, Spiritbox, and Gojira on a show in Toronto, and she was super stoked to see Spiritbox, and so I was able to like take in the music there, then listen to the album, and now I've listened to this one too. So it kind of makes me want to get more familiar with the older tracks as well, like more than I already am. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll even cover the album on the show one day. Who knows? We will wait and see. But for now, we're at the end of this one. So I did my reviews. Now I got to give the song rankings. So I used to say goodbye Spotify. I've said goodbye Spotify forever now. See you later, Cobuzz. We'll see you next time. There we go. Isn't that fun? It's Cobuzz. It's not. I'm going to say Spotify for like the next little while as I'm getting used to not having that in my brain or computer or phone anymore. Anyways, that's not important. What's really important is the song rankings. These numbers here. It's time to rank the songs 1 through 11. Least favorite to favorite, not so great to great, least preferred to most preferred. However you want to cut the cake, please go ahead and do that. We got party guests out there. I told them there was a cake. I told them that you'd be cutting it, so they're going to be mad at you if you don't cut the cake. Spoiler alert, I already have my own cake and I cut it, but so like I took the pressure off myself. Does that make me an asshole? Yes, maybe. But anyways, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know why I'm rambling. I'm just going to give you my song rankings now. So let's get this started. Number 11, Crystal Roses. 10, Perfect Soul. 9, Tsunami Sea. 8, Deep End. 7, Ride the Wave. 6, Keep Sweet. 5, Black Rainbow. 4, A Haven with Two Faces. 3, Fata Morgana. 2, it's going to be the singles, obviously. Soft Spine, because No Loss, No Love is number 1 for me. Both 10s, number 2, number 1 are obviously both 10s, as you can see on the list here. And I think I chose No Loss, No Love over Soft Spine because it still had that crushing brutality to it. But I really liked the creepy, kind of off-putting spoken word passages with like the quiet, like little electronic bits. I thought that was a really neat touch, so I think that kind of grabbed me a little more. But regardless, great songs all around. I know Crystal Roses has a lower score, but at the same time, I mean, a lot of pretty high scores on this one. Fantastic stuff all around. What does this mean for the album, though? Well, why don't we go ahead and find out? Get out of here. There you go. Words, bye. Oh, wait, now these words have to show up, though. Rate the record. Yes, it is time to indeed rate the record. You know, the whole idea behind this podcast and what it's called, what it's supposed to do, and everything like that. Well, let me do that for you right now. Obviously, you saw the scores. I had a lot of high opinions about this one, and I told you overall as an album experience, I really, truly liked it. And so that's why I'm happy to report yet another A-tier album on the show, A- to be specific, as it falls to 82.72%. I shouldn't say falls, it shot up to 82.72%. Impressive stuff. To be honest, I honestly thought this was going to be a high B-tier album, but I've pleasantly surprised myself by making another A-tier album for the Rate the Record podcast. Great stuff. Fantastic album. And I look forward to eventually doing Eternal Blue. I don't know when I'll do it. I'm going to space it out a little bit, but maybe sometime next year for sure. We'll see how things go, how the schedule goes and everything like that. That can disappear. And I'm about to disappear too because the show's over now. So thank you very much for joining me, hanging out, and listening to this album. And if you did indeed listen to this album, please do me a favor down in the comments below wherever you're listening, because there's comment sections everywhere. Tell me your thoughts and opinions on this. Did you love this album? Did you hate this album? Do you agree or disagree with me? What are your favorite songs? What is your favorite part of the album? How would you rank the songs? How would you rate the record? All that and more. You can tell me down in the comment section below. I love reading that kind of stuff, so please go ahead and do it. It always brightens my day when I can open the YouTube Studio app or like wherever the podcast shows up and see comments and like flick through and be like, oh, that's cool. Like I like seeing that kind of stuff. So go ahead and do that. You can find all the places to do those things over at ratetherecord.ca. Again, that's ratetherecord.ca. Streaming links, social media links, the RTR album chart, which this album will now appear somewhere on, and of course the RTR Club if you want to financially support the show. It's optional, but the option is indeed yours. Once again found at ratetherecord.ca. Well then, I've completed this recording on something closer to 3 to 4 hours of sleep. I'm sorry if I rambled a lot in this episode. I'll try to fix that for next time. And speaking of the next episode, I'm going to give it away now, and I'm going to make myself do this. The release date for that episode is October 30th. And that's because October 30th is the 35th anniversary of Skinny Puppy's album, Too Dark Park. And I own it on vinyl. I love Skinny Puppy. So I was like, okay, it's an anniversary album. I got to do it. and it comes out on October 30th type deal. So I have to have the episode up that day. So October 30th, mark your calendars and give me shit if it's not out by then. No excuses. Skinny Puppy, Too Dark Park. Let's get this done. So until then, go listen to even more awesome music, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care, friends.